Ooh. Ooh. Okay, 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 okay. Now I'm dancing because they dance a lot in this country. I am going today inside Barbados family life. 6 fun facts. Welcome to 198 days, 196 days around the world of family life. I've been traveling around different countries, trying to understand their family life and trying to bring you what you need to understand, especially if you want to work as a family life professional in any of these countries. My name is Praise Fowe, popularly known as the family life therapist, and today we are inside Barbados because they look like me. Because originally they are from West Africa, kind of. Anyway, Barbados is an Eastern Caribbean island and an independent British Commonwealth nation. Bridgetown, the capital, is a cruise ship port with colonial buildings and Israel, a synagogue founded in 1654. Wow. Around the islands are beaches and botanical gardens, the Harrison's Cave Formation, and 17th century plantation houses like St. Nicholas Abbey. Local traditions include afternoon tea and cricket, the national sport. Afternoon tea. Barbadian culture emerged out of the plantation of slavery economy as a distinctive synthesis of English and West African cultural traditions. So that's why we dance a lot. Regional, race and class culture variants exist, but all the residents identify with the national culture. So you do hardly find different ethnic groups like that. They identify under national culture. Now, if you have been following my journey, you realize that nations that identify national culture, they seem to grow faster than other nations who have multiracial or multi-ethnic group. Where about 80% of all Barbadians are the descendants of former African slaves. Barbados also has a high proportion of citizens with largely European ancestry. Barbados is generally free from ethnic tension. Now, what are the 6 fun facts you need to understand? Number one, the skin revolution. Cane revolution. Historically, sexual activity usually began early as women traded sex for economic support and children, according to culture.com. Now, there's what they call visiting. There used to be what they call visiting unions, or keeper relationship. But visiting unions gave way to common law marriages that for older couples might be legitimated by a church ceremony. Childbearing was an investment activity for women in Barbados. In a woman's youth, children legitimated are claims for income from men. So if you have a child for a man, you are made for life because at least you have child support and you earn something. Although established those claims require subservience as women enter the middle age. A daughter took over nearly all household chores, and a son provide financial resource that could make her independent of spousal support and reduced or eliminated a subservience to an autocratic male, right? Which is very typical of the West African kind of way of living. In old age, financial and domestic support from children meant the difference between abject poverty and a moderate or even comfortable lifestyle. However, since 1960, kin relations have undergone a revolution. Barbadian women have experienced a conjunction of good job opportunities and increased educational levels. So the West Indies marriage patterns of visiting, common law and legal unions remains, but many women now receive far more domestic help, emotional support, and affectionate behavior. Women now have fewer children and enjoy marked better relationship with their partners. Number two, family is king in Barbados, right? The culture is very, very similar to West Africa. Now, household ranges in size from a single man or woman to mixed gender groups that include as many as 15 people, right? Barbadians idealize a household that consists of a married couple and their children, and that pattern characterizes about 45% of household. Around 35% of household are organized around the mother and the children. Those households sometimes encompass 3 generations of women and may include brothers, uncles, sons, and the sexual partners of members of the core family unit, right? So you're in for a culture shock, kind of. Biological fathers and mothers are distinguished from other adults who may serve various caregiving and economic support functions for family. Now, when it comes to gender inequality in Barbados, child rearing traditions emphasize gender-based family responsibility. So it's still a bit of patriarchal society, because West African, the man who holds the reins. It's typically more like that, even though with the level of education they've attained, it's opened up the women to a lot of opportunities. So it's there looks to be gender parity in some parts of Barbados, but you can still see the contrast kind of. Traditionally, women took responsibilities for their home and taught home making skills to their daughter. Men were expected to provide income for the family and work outside of homes. Boys and girls began to work around the house at a very young age, doing chores such as carrying water by age 5. Mothers often spoiled their boys. Boys' work was never as continuous as that of their sisters, giving boys more leisure time than the girls. Typical of the West African way of living. Boys play more often during the day and stay out late at night. Sons grew into men who were expected to protect their mothers physically as well as provide for their material needs. These patterns have persisted over time, but increasing affluence has led parents to expect less from their children. So people now have a retirement plan. So there's a lot of less pressure on the sons right now. Girls now have become lawyers, business people, university professors. Working women expect men to help with children. Women more than men help care for the elderly. So women are still more compassionate when it comes to care for the elderly. Number 4, the people there are very direct and religious. Barbadians are direct and religious. So they're very outspoken, and you know where they stand at all times, and that includes the male and female, especially the female. They can appear very brash at all times, but it's simply because of their self-confidence. So if you're struggling with insecurity as a man, forget a Barbadian girl, because she's going to give it to you the way she feels. Now, religion plays a significant role in the life of the island. Up to 95% of the populace identifies as Christians. 95%, right? Whether practicing or otherwise. There's a lot of nominal Christians in there. And with its long British ties, the Anglican Church comprises the largest segment of the population. However, Roman Catholic, Baptist, Methodist, and other family denominations also support congregations. So basically, if you are a religious counselor, you will find more expression in this country than if you're a professional counselor, even though both of them are fine expression, but if you can align with the Anglican community, imagine 95% Christian. So it means you need to bring in a God factor in whatever you're doing, because they believe a lot in God, right? So you need to do a mixture of science and faith if you want to really, really be effective in here. You cannot just bring science alone. The population you're going to be dealing with is going to be small. Number 5, child protection. Barbadian children are usually filled with lives and lots of energy, always eager to learn. They have the ability to get involved without getting in the way. They take great pride in the very neighborhoods in which they grow up in, and even as adults have no difficulty in returning to visit their neighborhoods and catch up with older folks. So there are no hears about them at all. Family values are an integral part of the upbringing of Barbadian children. There's usually an air of protection that surrounds them, as the island is small. So most people know someone who knows someone else, or they are simply related to each other. That's the way it is. There are less than 300,000 people. The importance of education is instilled in the minds of children at an early age as a vehicle of economic and social stability. So education is very key. They are predominantly exposed to the teachings and upbringings of the immediate family, and then the mandatory exposure of school system, which takes them from nursery to primary to secondary and then on tertiary level. Now, I must say that because of the level of education, they've almost attained like 100% education in Barbados. There is no low class. You only have middle class and upper class. Now, number 6, elimination of gender-based violence. A 2010 UN Development Program survey on citizen security, in which over 11,000 male and female adults in 7 Caribbean countries were interviewed, found that 9.6% of respondents in Barbados have been subjected to punching, kicking, or other physical violence by a household member over 16 years of age, which was similar to the region wild average of 10.9%. The Family Services Division of the Welfare Department at the Ministry of Social Care and Constituency Empowerment offers counseling to victims of domestic violence as a provision for the recipient of protection orders. But the counseling is available for victims regardless of whether there's a protection order enforced. But it was noted that there's a law against gender-based violence, but in practice it's not so. The response of police has been very, very poor, according to some reports and some of the people we interviewed. But overall, you can see that they're trying to come up a lot more. Even though gender-based violence is still very, very poor, it's almost like they took on the culture of the West Africans and they brought it to that beautiful island. But education has kind of changed a lot of things. So girls now know their right. So it's very, very hard for you to see a girl take beating and and stay in the relationship, because it's now easy actually to get divorced. Once the relationship that's proved that it's broken down, divorce becomes very easy in Barbados, right? So if you want to work there as a family life practitioner, you need to understand some of these 6 things that I've highlighted. But there is a way to bypass conscious resistance and be functional in every culture of the world. There's a course you need to take called Family Systems Engineering Certification Program. If you go to school.iampraiseforward.com, that course is available for you. It makes you very powerful, very potent, very effective. You understand the systems and the tools that you can use in every culture of the world to bypass conscious resistance and get amazing results with your client. Follow me on Instagram, praise the Family Life Therapist, and please click on the subscribe button on my YouTube channel. I'll come your way again tomorrow and I'll land in another country. Till then, have a fantastic day. Okay, by the way, I gotta continue to dance. Ooh, this is a West African music, by the way.